Good morning, y'all. It's me again, Lauren. I'm so grateful for my husband just taking the time each and every morning and afternoon, encouraging us, praying with us. And so it's my honor to help give him a little break for a few days. And so I just wanted to encourage y'all this morning about family. So if you're like me, I realize in Celebrate Recovery that the enemy wants us to think that we're the only one struggling or the only one with difficulties. But, hey Jennifer, hey Vanessa, hey Chelsea. But I've realized with Celebrate Recovery that if you're struggling with something, there's a great chance that a lot of people are. And so that has encouraged me to be transparent, to live transparently. Because I find that we encourage one another when we're honest about what we're going through. And so I just want to be real. I don't know about y'all, but I just got, I was like, oh, this is so awesome. I have so much time with my family and blah, blah, blah. And then over the weekend, I don't know. I guess from not having a break with the kids and just being around them all the time and having to be everything for them, I guess what I felt like. Yesterday I woke up tired and I was trying to have a quiet time, and a certain sweet toddler just would not let me just focus for more than 1 minute at a time, and so that was not very fruitful time. And then before you know it, something happened in the afternoon and a mama bear blew up. It reminds me of the Timmy Failure movie. I don't know if you've seen that, but he says mistakes were made. Yes, mistakes were made, and I had to cool down, humble myself, ask for forgiveness, and work it out. And so I have to believe I'm not alone. I'm not the only one. Maybe feeling a little stir crazy. We were created for community. Don't get me wrong. I feel like our lives are very busy, and we could afford to slow down a little bit, but I don't believe we were created to, just stay in our houses all the time. I mean, I know we can, but it reminds me of, so when Trevor and I got married, Trevor at that time just has his true from his prior marriage, and the pastor that did our premarital counseling, he said, okay, see if I can do it. He's like, this is a graph. This is when you're dating. This is when you get engaged. This is when you're married. He's like, this is when you have kids. And he goes all the way down, and then he's like, okay, and this is when your kids move out. And he's like, guess what? Y'all are starting down here because you already have kids. And I was like, this is premarital counseling, you're engaged, this is the most exciting time of your life. And I was like, how could he tell us that, And then we got married, and I'm like, he was so right, And anyway, and ironically, that encouraged me. And I'm saying that to encourage you that if you're having difficulties in your families, in your homes right now, it's normal. It's normal, and it's okay. And I just want to give some practical things that we need to do it. I'm not saying there are not going to be difficulties, but we can still do it with love and forgiveness. So the first practical thing is to ask for and extend forgiveness. Colossians 3:13 says, bear with one another, and if one has a complaint against another, forgive each other as the Lord has forgiven you, so you also must forgive. And it just reminded me of, when little kids fight, they take toys from each other, or they call each other names or whatever. As parents, or even as, if you're watching over them, it's so easy to say, okay, now say you're sorry, and, and it's so easy for us to know that they need to forgive each other, but how often is it difficult for us as adults to actually realize, like, hey, I really need to say I'm sorry. Hey, I really need to forgive that person. And we need it just as much as they do. And in the same breath, it's just as effective, when you tell your kid, like, say sorry, they're like, sorry, they don't mean it. It's just as effective or ineffective when we mean it or not. And so I just want to encourage you that in this time, especially there's a lot of stress going on, there's in so many areas of your life, whether it's financially or whether it's, thinking about your health or thinking about the health of the world, or whether it's, your kids are at home and you're having to teach them for the first time and they're going stir crazy and driving you bonkers, all those things, there's a lot of stressors. And so we're going to make mistakes, and we're going to have, weak moments. So we need to walk in love and forgiveness. And so the second one is, I feel like this one's very important. We need to intentionally de-stress. I feel like one of the most ineffective things anybody could tell anybody is you need to chill out. Has anyone ever told you that? And you're like, oh, really? I need to chill out? Like, those are fight words for me. I don't know about you. But in a verse in Isaiah 26:3, it says, you will keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on you because he trusts in you. I love that verse. I don't know. I could just stand on that verse forever. But there was a time in my life when I had a lot of anxiety. I had, it ruled my life. I also had, I was coming out of an eating disorder. And so just those things together, anxiety and the eating disorder, they went hand in hand. And for me personally, what helped me is I would literally every morning either kneel or lay before God and just turn on worship music, and I'd lay there for 30 minutes to an hour. And that dramatically changed my life. Like, I can't tell you how much that changed my life. It was my favorite time of the day. So I just encourage you, if this is a very anxious time for you and you are able to do that. Now I have two little children, and I'm not that awesome of a mom to have like this set nap time. I'm not one of those amazing people. So it's not very, practical for me, and it may not be practical for you. So for me, when I'm doing the dishes or when I'm doing laundry, I put on worship music. If the kids are, driving me bonkers and I just can't seem to find rest in my mind or my heart, I can go on a walk and put on worship music in the stroller. And, they're chilled, they're quiet, they're not talking to me all the time. I'm not talking to them. So it kind of feels like I'm alone even though I'm not alone. And it's very helpful when I need a moment of sanity. You could take a bath, exercising. That's a huge, God created, it gives us, endorphins are released in our mind and our body when we exercise. I think it's a very important, during this time, especially. You could call a friend, just being silly, just taking a moment to just let loose and, dance around or, act crazy with your kids and just get on their level. It can really help de-stress you. If there's some family dynamic that you realize that really does need help, get a book off Amazon about it, that has good reviews that you feel like you could really receive from and grow from in that area. Another thing I'm just going to shout out husbands. You need to give moms a break. Like, I'm not trying to be rude. They don't have, the schools maybe that give them a break during the day, or, maybe their own job that gives them a break during the day, or the XYZ, so if, you are a husband, please say, okay, I got the kids for the next 30 minutes or however long, 45 minutes. Please just go on a walk or go take a bath or something. And I can't tell you how much that will help refuel them. And single moms, I just want to encourage you that, it's maybe make it a movie night. If a movie night is every night just for you to have a breath of sanity, it's worth it. I'm telling you, because just from yesterday when I was tired and exhausted, I was still being demanded of, but I wasn't taking the time that I needed to refuel myself, and it was a recipe for disaster. And so, not that those are just a reality sometimes of life, but we want to, prevent that if possible. Okay, my last thing is to make memories, to intentionally unwind with your kids and or your spouses or whoever happens to be, sorry y'all, whoever happens to be living in your house. Take time to just not be stressed out about the situation and, make the most of it or do silly experiments or whatever it is. It reminds me of the story. So this pastor that I really like, he said, he had his own business at a time, and they were really struggling financially. I think he said something about the winters were the slowest months, and it caused a lot of stress in his life because he didn't know he was going to make ends meet, and he had a wife and kids. And one day he came home early from work, and none of the lights were on, and none of the lights were working, and he was like, what is going on? And then all of a sudden, his wife, switched the breaker or whatever you want to call it, and came. He's like, what is happening? And she's like, every day she would turn off the power, and the kids would play in the living room like they were camping. And she did that to save money, to help that stress in his life. She knew that she couldn't do a lot of things, but she knew she could do that. And I'm sure to the kids, all it was a fun time. They were just making memories. They were doing something awesome, but it was a stressful situation. It was a stressful time in their lives. And I just want to encourage you in that with kids are so resilient. They're so remarkable. And so if you take time to make memories with them, they're going to come out of this with a stronger bond with you, a stronger bond with their siblings, and beautiful things can come from difficulty when we take time to intentionally make memories. For us, honestly, I'm here all week. So on Trevor's one day off, normally I'm like, okay, we're getting out of the house. Memories normally are made outside of the house for us, but it's different now, and that's okay. And so I'm just going to end with this one quote. It says, what I'm finding is that here in this place of unexpected stretching, we are making memories and becoming us. And so I just want to encourage you that this is a time that, there may be friction, but you can, when you take time to forgive, when you take time to de-stress, and when you take time to make memories, you can draw closer as a family through this. And lastly, I want to say, if you feel like you're like, okay, well, you don't know my family, I encourage you, if you haven't already, to read through Genesis. It's the first book in the Bible. I think it's one of my favorite books. I don't know. The stories are so interesting, and that is like the endless drama of families and family dynamics, and I just find it fascinating. So I encourage you with that. Anyway, let us know how we can be praying for you, and I will answer. I didn't look at the comments, so I'll look at that after that. But anyway, good morning. I'm going to pray for y'all, and I hope y'all have a great day. Father God, I just thank you so much for our church family, just for believers connecting, God, in through the internet, through Facebook. God, we just thank you for that avenue during this time, God. But yeah, we know we are created for a true community, and we're thankful that this is temporary. Lord, I just lift up every family, God, every household, every person. God, you know just the difficulties that they're coming against during this time relationally, Father God. And Lord, I just ask for your grace to be upon us, your grace and the strength and courage to forgive, and to be willing to look inside of ourselves and see where we fall short, see where we need to change, where we need to admit our wrongs, Lord, and how we can surrender that to you so that you can transform us. And God, we just thank you for your forgiveness through Jesus Christ ultimately, and that how that miraculous gift of cleansing us and forgiving and freeing us from all of our sin is that example that we have how to love and forgive others, God. So Lord, I just ask that you would help us walk in forgiveness and walk in love and mercy towards one another. And God, I just ask that you would help families make memories in this time. And God, reveal to us how we can take time for ourselves, just moments in our day, so that we can be refueled and refreshed to be able to pour out on those that need it, on our families. They need us, Father God, and we need them. And Lord, we thank you for them, even in all the family dynamics that are dysfunctional. Lord, we know that just as Christ loved the church, the bride of Christ, God, that you put husbands and wives together to reveal that love that never gives up, that forgives all and stands next to each other in every storm and every beautiful thing. So God, we just ask that you would give us a glimpse of that kind of love, that it would transform how we communicate with others and how we view others and view relationships, God. And God, I just ask for extra mercy with kids during this time, Lord. I know that they have so much energy, and I know that being cramped up in homes is probably the least beneficial thing for that. So Lord, I just ask for mercy and for grace for parents and for kids, Lord, that they'd find things that they'd love to get out that energy and just keep some sanity in the household. And we just thank you and we praise you. We ask in Jesus' name. All right. Bye, y'all.